I'm one of many residents in St Peter's affected by this. I'm not losing my house, but I'm going to lose friends like Pauline. And people who've lived in the area for 30, 40 years. We're going to lose a park that City Council has been spending 30 years in the making in Sydney Park. Yes, it'll be preserved, but it'll be surrounded by highways, which will be almost impossible to cross over. And one of the impacts of that is the loss of many, many trees and green space, which makes an enormous difference, not just to the amenity of the district as a place you'd like to live, but to the heat impact of vehicle traffic and roads. In other words, this whole project is going to massively worsen the whole impact of climate change, and it's going to be right in our neighbourhood. And one of the many things that concerns me about this whole project is that any concerns which have been raised by residents, been raised by people who are going to be impacted by it, including the commuters, is just treated as opposition and dismissed by this arrogant government. The concerns which we're raising are real. They could do things about it with the routing. They could do things about it if they looked at where they'd put the stacks and decided perhaps they weren't the best places, like in a valley, where it's going to pollute local schools. They could look at what they're proposing to do to things like the Cogra Golf Course, and which will result in the destruction of the only other viable colony, or possibly viable colony, of green and gold bellfrogs. They could move that construction camp somewhere else. It's things like that that make you despair about trying to talk to government, which is why I echo what Pauline said. If we let this go through, then this will be the pattern for all other big projects that government imposes on communities rather than taking us into account.